Here in Arizona, immigration is obviously at the top of many Trump supporters' minds, and Tucker Carlson had a very interesting segment about how immigration, changing demographics are making the country more volatile.
In the year 2000, Hazleton's population was 2% Hispanic. Just 16 years later, Hazleton is majority Hispanic. Now, before you start calling anyone bigoted, consider and be honest, how would you feel if that happened in your neighborhood? This pace of change makes societies volatile, really volatile, just as ours has become volatile.
I wanted to see what these Trump supporters thought about that. So Tucker Carlson had this segment that went viral where he said that the changing demographics with more and more Latina people coming into the country, it's causing more volatility in the country. What are your thoughts on that?
Build the wall.
I think if they were Republican voters, they'd be stopped.
The Latinas at the border?
Yeah, I think, and I think 4,000 Latinas coming in less than a month before the midterm elections. It didn't just happen. It wasn't a grassroots overnight decision. I mean, it took some, it took some planning, and somebody's behind it.
What would solve the whole thing in the border if they would just start shooting? Only shoot a couple, and they would go home.
You think deterrence would work?
If they would shoot.
I really feel like if the people from Mexico would come here and emerge into the American culture, but they really, I see it, they want to make America part of Mexico. And I'm opposed to that.
I would love the demographics to change if they came here illegally. It would be fine. I'd welcome them. Yeah, I'd welcome them. We have to keep track of everybody coming in here to avoid another 9/11. You can't just let people run across border. So I'd welcome them. I'd love to help them. I'd love to hire them if they came here illegally.
9/11, they were just Saudi Arabians coming, not through immigration, but
it's the whole policy that's the problem.
No one that I know that supports Trump wants that division. I think that Tucker Carlson takes a really, edgy stance on things in order to, rile up a crowd generally, and people like to watch that.
White people don't produce enough children. If you look at the demographics, they have abortion and the blacks. So when you do that, you need population growth. You need roughly 1.6 or more in order for the economy to grow. And since we're not producing enough, or we are aborting them, so you have no other choice except to bring in new blood and young people, and the Europeans are not coming over, so what's left is what you see.
So a lot of these people are fleeing horrific political situations themselves and seeking asylum. You still think that we should shoot?
If they just shot at them a few times, they would go back.
The rule of law needs to supersede all these emotions. Yes, there's emotions. And, you want to focus on separation of families. And we know there's strategies where they bring children. That's a strategy. But truly, come the legal way. Come the legal way. And we have hearts. We absolutely have hearts. But don't step in front of people who have done it the right way.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.
All right, Shalom Akim, all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to you fellow Akim out there pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. Okay, so I'm doing a response video to this video that I've seen off Rebel HQ, and Lord's will, I'm gonna see if I can put the video up in post-production. If not, I don't want to get a strike. I'll put the video in the description box, and I encourage brothers to watch that video, because my video is going to be based off of that video if I do not put the video up in the description box. And basically the title of the video was Trump supporter on immigrants, just shoot them. And basically, you have this woman reporter going around asking these Trumpers, these Make America Great Againers, about the current condition of America, and they're outright saying that they don't like you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. You know, primarily they're focused on you Latino tribes, and you coming up to California, which if you go into the history, California was part of, or I should say, California was part of Mexico, and it's ironic that these so-called white people they do not remember history, nor do they give a goddamn about you Israelites. You know, let me go into some scriptures. I'm gonna make this real quick. You know, today is December the 8th. You know, Saturday, 2 o'clock. You know, I'm gonna get ready for camp in a second. So I just wanted to do a quick video. You know, I was watching different videos and seeing through the spirit, you know, what topic I can speak about. You know, in this video, you know, jumped out on me, because this is really how these Edomites, how they really think about you Israelites. And then the video title says, just shoot them. They want to shoot and kill you Israelites, and that's ultimately what these so-called white people are going to do. You know, because they're being fed, they're fed up with the demographic of their country changing. You know, this used to be a white dominant, you know, society where the so-called white man had power to say and do whatever he wants, and now he's under the microscope and he can't do and say the things that he wants. He can't talk about you Israelites in the negative connotation that he wants, and the derogatory terms that he wants. Why? Is because he'll lose his power in society. He'll get fired from his job. He'll be ousted. You know, he'll be blackballed, so to speak. And blackballed is a so-called, that's a racist, derogatory statement. Okay, when you go into the history. So let me bring up this scripture, because these Edomites really believe that this is their country. They really believe that they got this country fair and square, that they're the rightful owners of this land, really the rightful owners of the whole planet Earth. Okay, and you Israelites. Okay, Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So the so-called white man, he came to this land and he destroyed the Native American Indians. He brought them down to a very low population. Also out there in the islands, you know, Hispaniola, you have the island of Puerto Rico, you have Central and South America. They went over there and they conquered all those lands. They conquered the whole United States of America, you know. And what did they do? They positioned themselves, okay, to take the land, and then they called their names. They called the land after their names, you know, Jamestown, Solano, you know, all these different names that these Edomites came over, and they changed the demographic of the United States as you see. I'm sorry. So they believe that this place is not going to go down, and now what's happening? They're frantically, you know, trying to regain power. Okay, with all these different movements springing up, these white nationalist movements, you know, more and more people are starting to well, I'll just say more and more Edomites are starting to, you know, voice their opinion about what's going on, you know, because they're losing that power. And there's so many videos, countless videos of so-called white man, you Edomites, blaming Israelites, victim blaming, why the country is in a shithole. And the reason why the country's in a shithole is because you created a shithole society. Okay, and there's consequences and repercussions to the actions that you take. Okay, this is Habakkuk 2:12. Woe to him that built up a town with blood and established a city by iniquity. And you should go. You should ask. You don't even have to ask, really. All you have to do is go into the history books. Okay, this is well documented history that has been passed down, showing you that the so-called white man, he got this land by iniquity. He got it by blood, by the force of the sword. This is how he was able to. This is how he was able to take America, okay, and then enslave the children of Israel. So now, all his sins are turning upon his head. Let me bring out a scripture. All his sins are turning on his head, and now he's up and now he's butthurt. This is Job 4:8. even as I have seen they that plow iniquity. So the so-called white man, he plowed iniquity by establishing America by iniquity. How did he do it? He did it by the force of the sword. He did it by killing millions and millions upon people, and then creating laws to strip Native Americans from their land. Put them on reservations. The Indian Removal Act. He created laws. Let me bring out another scripture. This is Psalms 94:20. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee?" So that word iniquity keeps popping up, which iniquity is sin upon sin. And the so-called white man, he's the man of iniquity, which frameth mischief by a law. So everything that he creates through his political system, through his judicial system, is mischief, and it's meant to oppress you Israelites, you Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. This is what his policy is created for. His immigration policy, he wants to build a wall. Okay, he wants to shoot you Israelites. He wants to keep you in these ghettos. Okay, the so-called white man, he's totally fine with you Israelites being in a lower state as long as you know that you're under him. As soon as he believes or thinks that you're moving ahead of him, or a power change is happening, he gets up in arms. He wants to kill you. And that goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau. This story is being played out right now. So shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law. So the so-called white man, everything he does, he frames it by mischief. He frames it by iniquity. Okay, so it says, even have I seen they that plow iniquity. So when you plow, meaning you work in the field. So if you're out there working the field, everything that you do is by sin, and sow wickedness, reap the same. So if you're plowing and sowing, okay, if you plow iniquity, you're going to sow. And you plow and you sow wickedness, meaning you push out wickedness in the planet Earth, and you establish this city by wickedness, Esau. So why are you so upset now that all these things are coming upon you? It says, reap the same. So now you're reaping what you have sown. I mean, this is common sense, right? You reap what you sow. 2 Thessalonians 1:6, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. So now the Most High is recompensing tribulation that the so-called white man has placed upon us. Okay, you so-called white people, you're the Edomites, and everything you have done in the planet Earth is unjust. Okay, all your laws, which you're not going to agree to that. You know that you're wicked. And as in Habakkuk, it says the soul that is lifted up in him is not upright in him. The soul that is lifted up is not upright in him. Okay, because you are corrupt by nature. You were created to be corrupt. You were created to be the wicked. And right now what's happening is the Most High is destroying the wicked. And you're up in arms because you're seeing that the whole country's demographics is being changed to Israelite dominant, which it was Israelite dominant before your red ass got here. Now you are suffering a loss of children, okay, because of this opioid epidemic, these different drug epidemics, crystal meth. Okay, your children in these foster homes, and then the so-called white woman is not having children, or if she is having children, okay, it's due to blacks, okay. Blacks coming up in there, so to speak, so-called blacks. And the guy says that in the video. So Esau's very, very worried. Okay, he's being pushed out of his society. And this is all due to you establishing a city or a town by iniquity. Let me go back to Habakkuk. It says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. This is verse 12. And establish a city by iniquity. And this is what you have done. Not only have you done this, but the way that you built this place, all right, by the labor of the Israelites, you have not given them their due reward. Okay, their due wage. This is Jeremiah 22:13. Okay, you pretty much have slave wage. Not only did you have the so-called black man build up this kingdom, this queendom, this spiraling down the drain queendom. But when they came out of slavery, you still have them in slavery through debt, okay, through debt wages, through a low income. And the so-called white man in the video said that he would love to give a Hispanic a job, okay, which he's telling you that he's the slave master, and you Hispanics are slaves. That's ultimately what he's saying. As long as you're in a working capacity under him, the so-called white man is okay with that. As long as you're pushed into isolated neighborhoods, okay, in the ghettos, in the slums, in the barrios, he's okay with that. But as soon as you start encroaching upon what he deems his land, okay, or his freedoms, all right, then the so-called white man, he has a problem with you. Okay, now he's victim blaming. Now he's pointing the finger and saying this is the reason why there's economic collapse. There's a reason why there's so much drugs and guns and violence in the neighborhood. It's because it's you Israelites. When ultimately it's him. Okay, this is the Most High breaking down in society. This is an overrunning him. Jeremiah 22:13, woe unto him that buildeth a house by unrighteousness. So this house, these divided states of America, you built this house by unrighteousness, by murder, by the force of the sword, by wicked decrees, by covetousness, okay? And its chambers by wrong. So everything that you have done to establish this place, to so-called the founding fathers, was done by wrong. And the so-called white man, he's not going to admit any of these things. Why? Is because he believes that everything he does is right, okay? That uses his neighbor's service without wage. Are we not his neighbor? And give him not for his work. So the so-called white man, he built this place, right, by the force of the sword through the hands of the Israelites, and then he didn't give the Israelites their due wage. That's why you work all the damn day long, and basically you're barely surviving. That's all set up by design. And now what's happening is those same curses that were upon us, you know, being cursed in the field, being cursed in your store. Now those curses are found upon Edom, according to Deuteronomy 30:7. And what is he doing? He's blaming you Israelites for the problem. Okay? This is Psalm 73:8. It says, they are corrupt. Who are corrupt? The so-called white man, the white race. Okay? Let me actually get a scripture. Let's go back. It says, Psalm 73:8, it says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. So according to the so-called white man, you Israelites are totally capable, okay, of taking care of yourself, okay, in this unjust system. Or you got to go back to Mexico, or you got to go back to whatever country you're in, or you blacks got to go back to Africa. But they don't speak about all the crime, all the oppression, all the laws that are set up against you, that they put into so-called law. They put on the books. They oppress you, but then they turn around and say, "Oh, it's your problem. Why aren't you working hard enough?" So the Most High, he's returning all the sins of the so-called white man upon his head. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. See, the so-called white man's tongue is able to walk through the earth. That's why people believe that he is the father of science. He's the face of justice. He's the face of religion and godliness, when he's totally opposite of all those things. He's the face of unrighteousness. He's the face of being corrupt. Okay, unjust laws. Okay, wickedness. This is Habakkuk 1:3. Why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me. And we see spoiling and violence before us right now. And there is that rise up strife and contention. Who is that? That's the so-called white man. His whole system is about strife and contention. The very video that you see is strife and contention. Therefore, the law is slacked, and judgment does never go forth. The wicked do compass the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. And this is why the so-called white man is in power, and the whole world is all messed up. because the wicked are compassing the righteous, and everything that the wicked does is unjust. So now the Most High is returning all those injustices upon the head of the so-called white man, and he's scrambling. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what to. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know what to do about it, other than he's going to take up arms, okay, and go against you Israelites. That's his last hoorah, because really, that's the spirit of the so-called white man. Is what the force of the sword is, by living by the sword. Okay, Esau said when his father Isaac was passed that he will slay his brother Jacob. So now that Esau seeing that he's losing power rapidly, he's going to come for you Israelites. Okay. It says, that was it on this. Let me bring out this scripture. This is Galatians 6:7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So the so-called white man, he sowed what? He sowed taking people's lands unrighteously, covetousness, being very covetous, lying, stealing, cheating, just being ugly. So now all these things are returning upon your own head. It says, "For he that soweth to his flesh shall reap." For he that soweth to his flesh shall reap of the flesh. Shall reap of the flesh, reap corruption. So you're reaping corruption, Esau. But he that soweth to the spirit shall reap of the spirit of life. So we're reaping of the spirit of life, and we're seeing the destruction of your people. All right, your suicide rates. You're not having children. Okay, Europeans, they're not coming over to this country. Okay, it's nothing but Israelites, which is nothing but biblical prophecy. Let me bring out this scripture. Yeah, this is Jeremiah 50:33. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go. And this is talking about America. So the children of Judah and the children of Israel, which is symbolizing the northern and the southern kingdom, they're oppressed together. And where? The oppressive city. Okay, the city of confusion, which is Babylon the Great. So we have to understand that Babylon's about to be destroyed, and the so-called white man, he's seeing that he's losing power, so he's going to come and he's going to try to destroy a lot of you Israelites. You know, the so-called everyday average so-called white person is scrambling. You know, and he's going down. Let me just bring out this. This is Obadiah, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. So ultimately, Esau, you're going to lose miserably, to the point to where the Lord is likening you unto stubble. And he's likening us, the children of Judah and the children of Joseph, a fire and a flame. Okay? And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. So ultimately, the Most High is going to totally wipe out the remnant, the name, the uncle, the nephew, as the scriptures say, of the house of Esau, the root. Okay? You're out of here. So you can do all your scrambling. You can buy as many guns as you want, rocket launchers. Okay? At the end of the day, you're going to be destroyed. Okay? And the earth is going to be at peace. So, I pray that you brothers edify. Until next time, shalom to the elect. Death to America.